G'day, my name is Elon and welcome to this Finance and Freedom channel. The idea of starting a business might sound amazing, it might sound fun, and it's obviously a popular notion in order to become financially independent. So you might be thinking to yourself, is this something that you really want to even embark on? Is this something that you think you'll be capable of making work for you? In this video, I'm covering off the biggest differences when it comes to the mindsets of employees and entrepreneurs. So you can ask yourself the important questions. Is this a fantasy that you want to start a business, or is this something that you are able to actually execute? If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. I think you'll like it. We put out videos every Tuesday and Thursday on all things finance and freedom. Number two, we have an amazing newsletter on exclusive information on finance freedom, global structures, and all that fun jazz. Link in bio for that. And we have just launched the pre-sale of our course and membership, which is essentially the Finance and Freedom Manual. If you'd like to find out more and also get lifetime access at a huge discount for being an early supporter of this channel, you can find out more. Link in bio. This video I'm so excited to talk about because it's one of my favorite things in the world to be an entrepreneur, for one. But I realized that this is something that if you weren't born into an entrepreneurial household like myself, this comes second nature to me, then you might be kind of going crazy potentially in your mind because you see the normal job path that you should be taking and something just doesn't sit right. You don't really know what it is. You don't have a support network to turn to find out, is there something else, or is this what life looks like? And it might be that you are just meant to be an entrepreneur, but you don't have any role models or guidance or anything to even get you kick-started in this world. The flip side of this is that maybe you're thinking that you should be an entrepreneur. You see a lot of people like myself talking about, hey, become financially independent through starting a business, and maybe you are attempting this and you're starting on this venture and it just feels so uncomfortable and you don't really want to be there because you find out that there's a lot to it. There's a lot to being a business owner, an entrepreneur. So maybe you're actually not interested in this world and you're just taking on other people's opinions of what you should do. Be an entrepreneur. You know, the online world is filled with people that are telling you that this is the best way and the only way. Not true. And that's why this video is being created, because I know my channel is definitely suited for people that want to be an entrepreneur or a business owner. I can only share information and experiences from my own perspective. Everything else is not my knowledge. It's not something that I've experienced myself. And so I tell people, yes, entrepreneurship is amazing. It's also very hard. Don't get me wrong, it's very hard. But I do not want you to be coming at me one time and being like, I tried this business thing and it went wrong and you're the one to blame. No, lots of things go wrong in business. This is how it works. And you have to figure out if this is something that you're willing to undertake, this huge challenge. But you might have this hunch for entrepreneurship, even knowing all the downsides of this world. And my friend recently, he's just made a jump from the employee mindset into the entrepreneurial mindset. And he himself says the number one thing for him that was the hardest to do was switching himself out of the employee mindset. Now that his brain has clicked over into this world, he can't see himself ever going back, because it is this switch almost like that has to go off in your mind to free you from even considering a different route, which is the employee route. So you have to choose a lane which works for you. Now, by no means is this video about bashing employees. No, employees are so important. I have employees. We need you guys. Thank you for what you do. But I'm just putting out this video because some people might not have a role model in this sphere. So this video is just clearing that air. Firstly, what are the benefits of becoming an entrepreneur? Learning to generate multiple streams of income. I love becoming an entrepreneur because you have endless possibilities of how much income you're able to create for yourself and how many income streams. And one of the fastest ways, in my opinion, to become financially independent and financially free is through having multiple streams of income. Through a traditional job as an employee, very limited in order to do this. Number two, you can contribute greatly to society. Of course, as an employee, you do so much of that. But I know that I have skill sets that are able to contribute so much to people's lives, and there's a gap that's not being filled that I have the information for. And so through me creating this business of Abundantia, being able to reach you with all this information about financial freedom, I know how many people's lives I can change. I can reach so many households. The potential for me single-handedly changing so many lives, I really get a kick out of that. Better still, this individual drive that I have to make huge change, double that, because Leon is part of this business. So that means there's two of us that have this immense drive. You can imagine how much value we want to contribute to the world. Number three, no one tells you what to do. Okay, this could be a good thing and a bad thing. Some people need to be told what to do. Some people really do rely on someone to say, I need you to study this, I need you to do this. It's how their brain works. They like being given instructions on how to operate in the world. I am bad in this regard. So many people can agree with this. I do not like being told what to do, unless I know it's coming from a place of love, but otherwise, even then I still struggle. So yeah, it's rebellious, I know, but I just can't. I cannot. Number 4, work hours. You don't have specific work hours. Weekends don't really exist anymore. Weekdays don't really exist anymore. Could be a great thing. Could also be a disaster, because in my 20s I was a workaholic. Though I'd find myself working 16-hour days almost every day for like about a decade. And so for me, it's the opposite. I need to figure out how to have boundaries for myself to stop myself from working and enjoying life. It's like the opposite problem. Number 5, full control of your time. Essentially kind of the same concept, but I have full control of my time. It is up to me whenever I work, however much I work, the efficiency of how hard I work in certain periods of my time, and then breaks I have. I can have holidays or vacations whenever I please, as long as it works around my schedule. Now, finally, after realizing that, being a workaholic actually kind of sucks, we are working together with Leon to figure out how we can work 1 week out of every single month. And I mean work, not just like, 9 to 5. No, I mean like sunrise to sunset. And then we have 3 weeks off to do whatever we want. That would be amazing. I'm only being able to put these structures in place after a decade of being in business and figuring out what I am capable of, how I can restrain myself, put boundaries in place, put the right operations in place so I don't have to be there every second of every day to run my business. Number 6, making money. There is no ceiling as to how much money can be made as an entrepreneur, where there is very much a ceiling when it comes to being an employee. Now, again, could be a good thing or a bad thing, because if you're not making anything, it's down to you. But if you master marketing and sales and create a really valuable product that suits so many people's needs, you could be making the big bucks from that, like endless amounts of money. Number 7, you learn so much. You learn so much when it comes to business because you wear all of the hats. You are the accountant, you are the customer service, you are the editor, you are the person in front of the camera, you are the graphic designer, you are the mailman. Like literally everything in your company, you are all of it until you get to a certain point where you can start delegating. But even then you might have to step in at any time and fulfill a role that isn't being completed properly because maybe a staff member got sick or whatnot. You have to be able to do everything. And because of that, the amount of knowledge you acquire, I love it. I love learning, I love knowledge. This is up my alley. Number 8, it is super fun. Like really, really, really super fun. Even when it's stressful, it is just keeping you on the edge of your seat. I like it. I know that it's also stressful because it's creating something that I want. I'm working on a project that I really enjoy and I see it beneficial to society. So all the stress that comes along with it, I'm really there. I'm fully and wholeheartedly in it. Of course, as employees, hopefully you love your job, but I don't come across many employees that are like, I can't wait to go to work. So that's kind of sucky. Number 9, being able to remain yourself in business is one of my favorite things because this is freedom. And as I said, freedom is the number 1 thing that I desire in life, and business gives me the capacity to do that. I will not change myself in order to fulfill customers' needs because that is the freedom that I have as an entrepreneur. I get to still be myself whilst providing value for you, and hopefully, you'll excuse the fact that I speak a little bit too fast in exchange for the valuable information that I provide. So now you know why I love entrepreneurship. If you're still like, hell yeah, that sounds awesome, stick with me. Now we're going into the difference of the employee versus the entrepreneurial mindset. I do just want to say that I've not really been an employee in my life, so I'm sure that there's an overlap between these two, and employees also have some of these mindset traits. I just can't speak about that because I haven't really been an employee very much. I've spent 2 years of my life working for somebody else, so I apologize in advance if I am getting some of these mixed up. And of course, there can be an overlap, absolutely. Number 1, security versus freedom mindset. My number 1 absolute and total driver in life is freedom. I want to have freedom on every aspect, whether it's freedom of my mind, freedom of my movement, freedom from any entities or one singular entity, freedom from authority. I desperately want freedom in every way. It's not to say that I don't want security as an entrepreneur. Of course I do. I have bills to pay. I don't want to be eating 2-minute noodles all the time. I have hobbies I want to fulfill. Like, I want to have security in that run. And I also know I'm responsible fully and wholeheartedly for my retirement. So of course I don't want to be a 100-year-old lady trying to be like, okay, I gotta go to work now. By that stage, I'm hoping I'll have myself set up perfectly well, that I'll be able to look after myself and my family, maybe even more people, through my ventures right now. So of course I want security, but above all else, I love freedom and I aspire to have freedom. However, most people, they're not brought up with this concept. This comes second nature to me. The majority of the world, though, is very convinced of one path in life, and they don't really question it because they might not have anyone around them to provide them with extra information of how things could be done. The usual path: go to school, get good grades, go to university, get a good job, climb the corporate ladder, work for 40 to 50 years, pay your taxes, pay into your pension fund, retire, rely on the government to pay you during your pension years. The end. Now, this personally makes me feel so uncomfortable. Personally, it's not the worst thing to be working for someone actually for me maybe, but asking someone if I can have a lunch break or can have a vacation or holiday, like I just can't. It's definitely a natural rebel in me, and I'm so grateful that I'm in the opportunity and the country that I was born into, and I got the opportunity to even question my reality and push back against the norm. I'm so thankful for it, my God. But I also say this makes me feel uncomfortable because it's a lie. The system of a secure job is a lie in my eyes. I am right now, funny enough, I cannot believe I'm saying this, I have had the Australian Taxation Office take my retirement fund from me because I asked my accountant, what is this about? And she said, because I haven't been contributing to that bank account for a while, because I'm no longer a tax resident of Australia, so because it's been sitting there not being topped up for a while, they just took my money. So now I'm speaking with the accountant and we're gonna have to try to retrieve that. It wasn't a lot of money, I will say that. It was only from when I was working as a bartender while I was starting out my businesses on the side, but they just took my money. My money, this is what I worked for. I put it into my pension fund. This isn't a one-off incident. This actually happens a lot. There are governments and stories of governments around the world that have been stealing pension funds from their citizens because they messed up and they needed to have money to foot the bill of their mess up. That means that some people could literally be working their entire lives expecting a pension fund at the end, and it's been stolen by the government, by the people that are meant to look after them. I remember when my grandma told me how much she was making from her pension, how much they were paying after a lifetime of working for Australia, how much she was getting paid as this retirement fund. It was so low. It made me annoyed so much. I didn't have money right back then to give my grandma what I would have loved. Some people might say, but at least they have a pension fund. She worked for it her entire life. This was sold to her as job security. So that's why I'm saying I want to have a freedom mindset, because the freedom mindset is me being responsible for my future, ensuring that I and my family will be free in the future in retirement so I can enjoy my life, my final few years on earth. Oh, responsibility. Everything becomes your fault and your responsibility in business. You have to treat it like this. And some people love this rush. If things are collapsing, it's because of me, you know? I have to figure out how to fix the problem. If I'm not generating enough income, that is because I didn't do my job. And I might have employees. I do have employees. And if I don't have the income coming into my business, they rely on me. I have to pay them. That's my responsibility. It definitely is uncomfortable, but it stretches you. I genuinely really like being responsible for absolutely every aspect of my business operation. I am the only one that can be blamed for anything that goes wrong. And even if someone else messes up, if one of my employees messes up, I'm the one that has to fix it. And problem solving. I like it. I just want to throw in there, it sounds fun, right? I'm smiling and everything's positive, but when everything is going to crap and your business is destroyed in front of your eyes and things are just falling apart and you might be getting really disappointed customers, it hurts. It's not a reason to be smiling. Business can be extremely stressful and so many things can go wrong, so you also have to be prepared for that. Right now, I'm speaking from a place where this community is growing so fast, everything's going really well, so I'm very happy, but I am well aware that business is this, right? It goes up and down, and there will be some really hard things that I have to encounter when it comes to this business, and I have to be ready for that. And that's gonna stretch me and push me and make me grow even more and deliver a better service on the other side of that if there's a huge stumble. Business, it happens. With the employee mindset, you are thinking about the almost guaranteed paycheck that you're gonna have at the end of the work period. You go into a job, you execute your role. It doesn't even have to be at times the most perfect, like you don't actually have to be giving your 100% because at the end, you will still be getting paid. Now, of course, I know most employees do wanna give their best, but it doesn't mean that they won't spend some time on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, just being like, oh, no one's watching. Entrepreneurs, we know that if we do that, If we just like, oh, you know, Instagram, Facebook, that means that we are stealing our own time away from our business and our productivity, and we don't get paid if we don't put in the effort. Problems aren't just problems, they're issues to be solved. Everybody can look at the world and complain and see that things are bad and we need to be changing certain things, except an entrepreneur actively seeks out those things in order to be able to make change. They're looking for those things in order to impact the world, because we know as entrepreneurs, business owners, business is just value provided. That is it. So if you can find that thing that's going to create immense value for someone, you're going to succeed and you're going to make the world better because you provide that value. Most people though look at problems and then just complain about it and say how unfair it is. But yes, life is unfair in so many ways, except you can either do something about it or you don't. And entrepreneurs are the ones that drive the vision and drive the change for the world. Trading time for money versus value for money. The structure of an employee is to go to work and provide a certain amount of hours from your life, and then you get paid for those hours. Whereas an entrepreneur, we get most rewarded for the value that we are able to create in somebody else's life. I consider myself almost unemployable now because I don't know who could pay me enough in order for me to execute the skills that I would be able to increase their business operations so much. You would really have to pay me such an insane salary for me to even consider it. Like a really, really, really insane salary. Fear and competition versus welcoming competition. I completely understand the mentality of being afraid of any competition that might enter the sphere, because you might lose your job as a result of that. I would be afraid as well. Always these external things like, am I gonna lose my job if someone else comes along? That sucks. That would be so scary. Whereas in the entrepreneurial mind, you are responsible for your business. You create your business. It is yours. So whenever you see a competition, you have to have the mindset of, oh, someone's doing something better. I need to make sure that I'm up leveling. And it's always about how are you doing. It's very hard, if you choose a specific niche, it's very hard to really have competitors that are doing the exact same thing as you, because if you do business the right way, you're trying to find a niche where you do something so unique that no one can copy you. And that's the definition of a really great business in my eyes. So competition isn't very often very direct. It's more of a, wow, you're doing very similar things to me, let me learn from you. Or if it's someone amazing, hey, can I employ you? Because you recognize greatness in other people that's going to help uplift your vision and your mission. And I think also with entrepreneurs and business people, we understand that it's a hard slog and not everybody does it. And it's like you belong to this special crew of people. It's like, you're an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. So you like to cross information and share it, even if you're in the same industry. My YouTube friends from my other YouTube channel, travel YouTubers, that was a big part I was in for a while. I would ask my friends, how did you do that? How are you able to do this? I was always intrigued, and they would share information really readily, and I would share what I'm doing with my financial aspect of things, because I was always really good in this aspect. My friends were like, wait, how much are you making? And I was like, this much. They're like, can you teach us some ways? I was like, okay. So it was more fun because we are on the same team, essentially. Sure, there's competition. And if someone is doing better, it's like, well done. I have to get better at myself because I have to ensure that I'm giving my best to the customers, because otherwise I'm going to lose my business. And that kind of sucks. External motivation versus self-motivation. One of the first things I do when I meet someone new is ask what they do and if they like their job. Most of the time I do receive an answer of like, so that's why I say that I don't think most people like their job. Therefore, I'm under the impression that most people need to be externally motivated, and it doesn't come from a nice source. I see that a lot of people approach their jobs from a fear standpoint. They are afraid of losing their job. That's why they arrive on time. That's why they produce the work. It's not coming from a place of love per se. For me personally, my motivation comes from the ability to change somebody else's life. That is huge for me. I know that we've found something in the market that I and Leon can provide immense value on, and we can change people's lives. Money can't buy that. No amount of money will be able to buy how much we can impact people's lives. We can change the trajectory of people's lives. With the information that we're sharing, we could get people out of horrible mindsets around finances, from horrible financial situations that they've gotten themselves into, or something external has caused them to be in a really dire situation around finances. We have the ability to change that through education. This is why I so often say on this channel, please like and comment on these videos, because it's going to help us immensely in getting the message of freedom and finance out to the world, a human right that we believe. Because I honestly do think that this is a human right. It shouldn't be something reserved for a specific amount of people that have the cash already, perpetual cycle of whoever has access to the money. I want this education to be available to everybody because people deserve it. And you better believe that I don't need someone to motivate me in order to do this stuff. I am here showing up because I know the impact that I can bring through the value of my work. Being held accountable versus self-accountable. When it comes to being an employee, one of the things that scares me the most about that is that someone would ever micromanage me and not trust in my abilities to execute on what I say I can execute on. I don't want to go to my boss and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Or them just coming over and just like, where's that report? It's like, bro, I'm working on it. It takes time. I will deliver it when I'm done. But you can't say that to a boss because you have your job security on the line. They will not respond very well to you saying these things unless you work in a really great environment that allows you to expand your wings as an entrepreneur in an employee environment. There is a potential for that, of course. As entrepreneurs, the only accountability that we have is providing for the customer, providing the value for the customer. If I don't provide any value to you guys, you will leave. Anyway, I hope this was a nice video giving you some insights into the differences between the entrepreneurial mindset as well as the employee mindset. Which one do you think you are? I would love to know if you think entrepreneurship is for you and if you're willing to go down this path and have everything be your responsibility and have endless hours that you'll be working, figuring things out as you master the skills that you need in order to make business work for you. Or do you just think, actually, no, I don't want that? Some people are so happy to just clock off, go home, spend time with their families, whereas I will admit, I don't really clock off. I'm trying to put boundaries in place, as I mentioned, but it's a struggle for me. Differences in work, but it doesn't mean one's better than the other. One is just more suited for different personality types, but it's definitely not a competition because we need both in the world in order to advance the world and also execute the vision of entrepreneurs and visionaries and so forth. Thank you to everybody for the jobs that you do. You are so important. Reminder to subscribe and also check out the pre-sale that we have on the course and membership, which is the Finance and Freedom Manual. Link in the bio to get lifetime access at a huge discount. And I will see you in the next one.